Coming to the ring right now. Red trunks, trimmed in black, Joe Grubbs.
Well, there he is, Joe Grubbs. He's going to be, of course, the opponent for Benny Hurd, and Benny Hurd is going to make his way. But look at Joe Grubbs right now. Joe Grubbs looks like he's ready to fight. He's a working man's kind of fighter. Had a chance to talk to Joe Grubbs, and a very interesting young man who said, you know what? They might think they got an opponent, but they just don't know they got a winner. Joe Grubbs, you see him right there in the bald head from Chattanooga, Tennessee. He says he likes motor car racing.
Coming to the ring next, having served 21 years, Benny Hurd.
Well, there he is. He's a fan favorite. He's Benny Hurd. 21 years for murder. Rico, if anyone can understand his story, it's you. You had a bout with crime and murder and turned it around in boxing. Why is this game such a game that greets boxers and gives them a different way of life?
Because for a fighter that is definitely serious about this, it gives them the opportunity to do something constructive with their lives and definitely takes them off of the street and gives them some focus on something positive rather than being stuck in a system or in the muck where they have nothing to do, they have nothing to work towards, and they just get, you know, unfortunately a lot of fighters get back into that recurring system. So,
you know, we talk about a second chance in life. Talk to us about your story. You got a second chance. You can identify with Benny.
Oh, I can definitely identify with Benny and a lot of other fighters that have gone through what he's gone through. I served close to 10 years in prison in the Michigan Department of Corrections, and just coming home, I set my sights on never returning to prison and doing something positive and constructive with my life. And boxing gave me that outlet.
All right, now let's take a look at the absolute tail of the tape of our two fighters for our very next contest. I'm talking Benny Hurd, who is now 2-0, but he hasn't had a fight in 21 years. And, of course, there is Joe Grubbs, 1-2, out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's going to be an interesting fight. And, of course, when you talk about great fights, the one and only Osei can give us the introduction.
All right, fight fans, our featured bout tonight, fighting out of the blue corner. From Cleveland, Tennessee, with a record of 1-2, weighing in at 174 pounds. Make some noise for Joe Grubbs. This brother's been waiting for 21 years. Hailing from Elberton, Georgia, with the record of 2-0. Weighing in at 174 pounds, make some noise for Benny Hurd! Fighters to the center of the ring.
Well, you can tell by that applause and, of course, that response, Benny Hurd sold a lot of tickets tonight.
Oh, hey, what a welcome home present for Benny Hurd. I mean, obviously the fans here love him. He's a hometown boy, and from what I understand, he was a great amateur with a promising career that was cut short, and I'm excited to see him tonight, and I'm just glad that he's getting the opportunity to make amends, and whatever he has gone through in his life, he has the opportunity now to clean the slate and start over.
All right, it's Benny Hurd against Joe Grubbs. It is only a 4-round contest, and I'm telling you right now, the young man from Cleveland, Tennessee, just outside of Chattanooga, and the red trunks is taking on Benny Hurd and the white and gold trunks, or shall I say beige and gold trunks for Benny Hurd. And Benny Hurd says, I wonder if I still have it. And that's what happens when you get to be that age in the ring. I mean, let's face it, you don't have what you used to have, and the first thing to go is reflexes. You always retain that power, but it's the reflexes. You can see the opening, but whether or not you can connect. Joe Grubbs says, you know what, didn't have much of an amateur career. Ronnie, I was in a lot of tough men competitions throughout Tennessee, but boxing is something that I enjoy. Not for a paycheck. And at that time, Joe Grubbs with the counter move was able to get to Benny Hurd. Well,
you can obviously see that Benny Hurd 20 years ago probably had a lot of skill They gave Holyfield fits from what I understand. And it's a testament to his will that when he went into prison 20 years ago, he was 175 pounds, and he came home 20 years later at 175 pounds. So that just showed his dedication while inside to not fall victim to the woes of prison.
Benny Hurd, of course, being able to counter. But I have to give credit where credit is due, and I'm talking to Joe Grubbs, because Grubbs is not in there for a payday. He's being extremely competitive, and you've got to wonder how much is left there for Benny Hurd. Benny Hurd with the jab, and that is a nice right hand that time by Benny Hurd, and a 1-2 combination punch.
And now we'll get to see if Benny Hurd still has any finishing power left. He's put his punches together, and he's able to get shots off. But like you say, Gibbs is in there, and he's fighting back, and he's not going down without a fight. He's definitely giving it his all.
The lead right hand has been a great weapon for Benny Hurd, and that time he took it up top and downstairs to Joe Grubbs. Benny Hurd is starting to feel comfortable in there. He's finding his rhythm. And even though he may not have the movement of old, those devastating right hands, and that one really put Joe Grubbs up against the ropes. Benny Hurd with the attack to the body right here and round number 1, an overhand right, and we're right here on the action. But Joe Grubbs is fighting back, and Benny Hurd with a counter right hand right on the great opening.
He's definitely putting his right hands together. Benny Hurd is putting his punches together very well.
He's a crafty veteran, but you got to give credit to Joe Grubbs because he keeps punching. But the counter right hand, that time by Benny Hurd, is classic. Those are things you learn in old school boxing. A great right hand that sends Grubbs up against the ropes. Grubbs looking for some place to go. And Benny Hurd, just like an old pro, takes his time because you know what? He sees the wounded prey, and all he's going to do is sneak up on them and hit him with a counter right hand. We're going to go into round number 2 between these two guys.
Hurd just got caught with a great right hand by Gibbs. It looks like he's going to survive. He survived the first round. It was tough for him, but he survived it. And let's see if Benny Hurd can keep it up. At 43 years old, he looks a little weary already.
You know what? You would expect for him to be somewhat tired because exhaustion comes with excitement. You've got to anticipate the type of emotion this man was going through. 21 straight years of doing this thing. Now let's take a look at our round card, girl, for round number 2. How do you do with round number 2? What does Miss Lux have on? Oh my God.
He loves.
I'm glad we didn't get a close-up. That's all I got to say. Back into the corner of, I'm talking, the one and only Benny Hurd, and then there is the corner of Joe Grubbs. Joe Grubbs really made a good account of himself, I thought.
Yeah, Grubbs, like you said, he didn't come in to be an opponent. He came in to perform tonight, and he's standing up and he's doing what he has to do to try to win this fight. He's not laying down. He's just, I think right now, even at an older age, Hurd is just a little too crafty for him. He's able to get out of the way of Grubbs' shots. And I think that eventually that's taken its toll on Grubbs' performance.
Obviously, there's been a knee injury to Benny Hurd. And you've got to wonder whether or not the balance is there, whether or not he can plant off of that right leg. That right knee, sometimes, let's face it, when you throw that right hand, you're going to need it to pivot off of it to have some tremendous power. And right now, you have to wonder whether or not they're more arm punches, just good technique, and whether or not he's able to plant off of that right.
Yeah, I think, when he's ready to step up in class, Hurd is going to find out that, I mean, it's not the same game as it was for him, 20 years ago. You can see that there's some imbalances, there's some mistakes, and his legs really aren't there. But I'm giving him credit where credit is due. I mean, he's coming out and he's looking to make a statement and say that, he didn't give up on his life. So, but I think as he moves on in his career and tries to step up and with better competition, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for him to perform.
Benny Hurd, 21 years in prison for murder. He's a free man now.